posted this from his IG page from Costa Rica. Quote, "This Sunday's outcome is a lot better than last Sunday."
Damn, Tom. What was the outcome?
I forgot. What was that? The L he took? Well, at least he's kissing Giselle right there. That's nice. So, Cris Carter, after all of the success, yes, he's lost 3 times in the Super Bowl. Look at you. Haven't we learned that we should not doubt Tom Brady and his ability to get back in this thing?
Well, this is, and Nick brings up a great point. When we started the season, there was no team in recent history that was as big as favorite as New England was. Now, the team that took the field in Super Bowl 52 was totally different than the team we thought that they would have. They had unprecedented action as far as free agency, the Brandon Cook trade, the type of pieces they had put around Tom. We were like, wow, they're doing this so they can make a run in the next 2 to 3 years.
Absolutely.
I'm not worried about Tom Brady. I'm worried about their defense. Right. I mean, last season they gave up 60 passes over 20 yards. One of the worst defensive teams that we've seen. And a Belichick team, they lost their defensive coordinator. We know that Malcolm Butler's going to be leaving. Hightower, their injured middle linebacker, we don't know when he's going to come back. They don't have a pass rusher under the age of 38.
I mean, James Harrison and
so we can take as many pictures of Tom and Giselle as we want to, kissy, but those are the 2 most talented in New England. And sometimes this is not a talented.
Tom and
Giselle? They don't have a talented roster.
And sometimes when you bend and you bend and you bend, you break. And that's what the Patriots did at the beginning of the season. 11 straight drives in the red zone to start their season. They gave up points. And guess what happened at the end of the season? 11 straight drives in the red zone that gave up points. The bend but don't break sounds great, but the problem with continually bending is you're more likely to break. And so I am not going to doubt Tom Brady. I tried that. I tried getting on that train this year. I had all these numbers. 40-year-old quarterbacks. Here's the precedent. He lit those on fire en route to winning the league MVP. Then he had a bit of a down December, and it's like, oh, maybe I could be right. No. Fourth quarter comeback against the Jags, and then one of the greatest Super Bowl performances we've ever seen, despite the loss. Just raw numbers. They had no running game. They had no defense. He had to do all of it. Yeah. But there are real questions about the defense. Like, yes, Julian Edelman will be back on offense, but he'll be back post-ACL and a year older. Rob Gronkowski, I don't believe he's going to retire. I believe he will be back, but you can't pencil him in for a full year at any point in his career. Brandon Cooks will be back, and Brandon Cooks is a good player. I think the Pats, almost no matter who's out there, will find ways to score points on offense as long as Tom Brady's there.
Yes.
We know Josh McDaniels coming back. But the defense needs some talent. Like, period, point blank. You need some blue-chip guys. They had some blue-chip guys, by the way, in the last few years, and they got rid of them.
Yes.
Chandler Jones was a blue-chipper.
Yes.
Has been incredibly successful post-New England. They got rid of him. Jamie Collins wasn't quite a blue-chipper. Jamie Collins, though, was the most physically talented member of their defense.
Yes.
They got rid of him. Dante Hightower, they didn't want to get rid of him. He got hurt, so they still have him. But, like, who's there? Malcolm Butler was looking like he was going to turn into a blue chipper. He's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Like, so there are I have questions about the Pats, but it's not about their quarterback.
Yeah, okay. They don't have the salary cap space either to go out and make a bunch of changes. And, I mean, Tom Brady, I know that the Boston Globe, that article, Boston Herald, that article was disputed, but is there some realness right now with Tom Brady playing it for only $14 million and them not having the assets running? Is that a real thing? I also believe that they will be hurt by losing their defensive coordinator. I know Josh is coming back on the offensive side, but it's hard to replace that type of intel. And they haven't been great on defense the last several years.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Tom Brady, I don't disagree with anything you gentlemen have said. He can put that offense on his back and carry it completely across the finish line. But there has to be a question of defense because these other teams are just getting better offensively. I mean, you look at Philly, you look at some of these other teams.
Yeah, but let's look at the AFC. We believe that Deshaun Watson in Houston, he'll be back as legitimate. If Andrew Luck gets back, they'll be a legitimate contender. We know in Pittsburgh, they're coming back firing. And Jacksonville is just getting started. One of the best defenses we've seen in a long time.
And then you've got in Kansas City, if Patrick Mahomes is what they think he will be, that team should be what? Why are you rolling your eyes at my Chiefs?
If a fifth was...
All right, if was a fifth, we'd be drunk. I get it, CC. Let me have some faith in Pat Mahomes. I'm at another team. Denver, if they sign Kirk Cousins. Like, Kirk Cousins is likely going to an AFC team because those are the teams that need quarterbacks. Yes. So the AFC East will still probably be theirs for the taking. Like the AFC East.
Dolphins, Jets, and the Bills.
Right. We don't trust any of them.
That's like an easy win.
Yes.
But no, I don't doubt Brady. But are they talented enough on defense to win 3 playoff games? They weren't this year. Like the question will be, will they be next year?
This is a dilemma for me because I know the overall responsibility, especially when you've hired 3 assistant coaches and they're already in the building. Yeah. You've given the people your word. I do agree that Bill Belichick did not give him a definite when I'm going to walk away in a transition. I do believe that the wording, because in meetings like this, people who are in power, being craft, they can say things or they can craft the conversation to lead you believing that based on what their word is, that this is a real possibility. Now, I do believe something like that happened, which also I believe Tom Brady added something to it. When he made the statement, we don't know if this is to be true, but if it was true, that he demanded that Josh stay there, Josh hearing that, and Andrew Luck. We don't know how bad this is. We don't know what kind of medical information, because I'm not in any hurry to partner up with Jim Irsay. So I was a little hesitant about that. I'm hesitant about Luck's injury, and I do believe this to be true. Josh does not have a promise, but I believe Kraft and them said some choice words to make him stay there in New England.
Listen, we see this in other industries. Let's take Mike Tirico when he left ESPN to go to NBC. And there were a lot of questions about what does this mean for your and my mutual friend Bob Costas and his future. And NBC was like, oh, no, Costas is going to be here forever. Like, we're just happy to add Mike Tirico. But it didn't make sense, him leaving the prominent position he was at to go be, what, a number 2 for the next decade? And then what did we find out this week? That, our friend Bob Costas is retiring, essentially, or at least stepping away, and Tirico's going to slide into that position. For Josh McDaniels to do this to the Colts, it might not torch his ability to get jobs with the 31 other teams, but it torches his ability to get jobs with 24, 25 of them, which now all of a sudden you're trying to thread a very small needle if you want to be a head coach in this league. And you cannot convince me Josh McDaniels does not want to be a head coach in this league, not only because of that he failed the first time around, and not only because it's the top of the mountain in his profession, but the enormous financial rewards that go along with being a head coach compared to every other coach on that roster. It is an enormous discrepancy. So I cannot believe a guy would have a head coaching job in this hand and just throw that hand away if he did not have every reason to believe I'm going to be the head coach here. I'm sure they didn't give him a date, and I'm sure Belichick didn't say any of these things. But what you're saying about Kraft, then maybe after the meeting, Kraft's like, and by the way, you're next up. We got you. I think that had to have happened.
So riddle me this, gentlemen, because we all are grown, and everybody involved in this scenario we're talking about are grown folks. And so what we know is even if Kraft had wink, wink, you're next, you're the guy, you're the chosen one, even if Belichick, Brady, and everybody got on board with that wink, wink, it's you, brother, things can change in an instant, particularly in the National Football League. So to your point, I agree with you, Nick. Who doesn't want to be a head coach? And as you say, this transitions to other industries. Certainly when you have the opportunity to get your dream job, I say you have to take it when you can. But you have to take it when you can, because who's to say you ever get another bite at that apple? So you're right, 25 teams probably are not even going to look at him twice. We also don't know what this is going to look like the next few years with him still under Belichick's command. And he might not even be a desirable head coach candidate when the next opportunity comes up.
I mean, he took a great risk.
Huge.
I mean, he took a chance. But the ability to be able to work with Tom Brady potentially until he retires, I mean, that's a feather in his cap that none of us know the value of that. But I just think the inside information on Andrew Luck, I believe as time, tells, I believe the stories will come out. And also we'll see in the OTAs, is Luck back in the OTAs? Do they start training camp? And if they don't do those things, it makes sense why Josh maybe had more intel than we had. Now, I'm with you guys. These jobs are very, very rare. And if you get an opportunity to take them, just like Frank Wright, he took one.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, he took the job that Josh turned down.
But here's why I think you have to be right, Chris, because what is new information? That's what's going to move the needle. So whatever value playing for Brady or playing with Brady till his retirement has, he had that before he committed to go to the Colts, correct?
Absolutely. The one piece of new information that was reported is Bill Belichick saying, I'm going to open up this treasure trove of information that I didn't open up to you before. One thing to keep in mind that maybe Belichick sold him on. When Bill Belichick was under Parcells in 1990, after they win the Super Bowl, Bill Belichick leaves to go to Cleveland, a lesser organization, more questionable ownership, all of that, right? A few weeks later, Bill Parcells steps down. Belichick gave up the opportunity to take over the Giants, something he would have rather done. I wonder if Belichick relayed that story to him as far as more of the wink, wink, nod, nod. You don't want to give up the opportunity to take over the New England Patriots like I did with the Giants.
Cautionary tale.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.